So I'm like over halfway into editing this, a couple hours in, and all my footage has just corrupted. So I'm going to have to redo it again. So subscribe, because you're cool and I'm cool. Hello, and welcome to the Blood 9 explanation playlist. If you couldn't tell already, this is a series of videos explaining the game Blood 9 on Roblox. For a little backstory, it's a game about war in the Napoleonic era. There are factions, also known as nations, like France, England, the newly added Spain, and the also newly added Netherlands, Poland, Russia, and a few others. With the factions, there are maps you can vote for, like Farmlands, La Hassane, Spanish Farmstead, Grasslands, and many more. And with the factions and maps, there are ranks that you can be. There are 5 ranks to choose from: the infantry, skirmishers, militia, cavalry, and artillery. And with the ranks, there are different roles you can be, such as the ranker, officer, sapper, flag bearer, and 2 musicians that rotate between the drummer, fifer, hornblower, bagpiper, and the bugler, depending on your faction. In this video, we'll be focusing on the infantry's ranker, the most iconic and simple role. To start, let's get the controls out of the way. Movement is of course WASD. Press C to crouch, C to stand back up. You can't move whilst you're crouching though. To hold your items, press the corresponding number of 1, 2 or 3 to use your melee weapon. Left click. You can also hold the left click to keep your weapon in a state of being ready to swing right away. Just release your finger to attack. To prop up your melee weapon, press X. Though in this state they are not usable. To block, hold the right click. You can't block whilst using the knife, sickle or militia hammer. To interact with doors, press E whilst facing the object. For the complex controls, weapons can be used to attack in 4 different directions. Some weapons only use 1, 2, 3 or all of them, but knowing how to use all of them will be useful no matter what. To slash straight down from above, when you go to attack, push your mouse up as you click or hold. All melee weapons can do this except from the pike, lance and bayonet. If you click but with momentum coming from the left side, you will attack from the left and swing your weapon to the right. Again, all weapons excluding the pike, lance and bayonet can do this. If you attack from the right this time, you'll get an attack coming from the high right side going down to the middle of your left side. Only swords, sabres, their weaker variants of the sword, bayonet and the sabre binquet and the knife can do this. Now finally, if you pull your mouse down a little, you'll lunge from below. Swords, sabres, their weaker variants, knives, scythes, bayonets, lances and pike can do this. It's the only attack that the musket, bayonet, lance and pike can do. For your firearm, left click then right click to cock it and aim it. It doesn't matter which order you do it in. To aim, move your mouse around. Note, you can only prepare your gun in first person, but if you turn shift lock on, you can go into third person and shoot. Left click to shoot. When you have the firearm ready to shoot but you don't want to, right click to put it back. When using the line musket when you're a ranker, press X to get out your bayonet. And again, press X to put it back. We'll go over the controls of the other roles in their videos, but for now, let's get into this one. When you join the game, you're automatically a ranker. Rankers have a line musket equipped with a bayonet, and they either have a sword or a sabre, depending on which faction you're in. The sword and sabre perform identically, the only difference being how they look, with the sabre having a slightly curved edge and the sword being completely straight. Here are the pros and the cons. The pros. The bayonet has a longer reach than your main melee weapon. Bayonets can do an insane amount of damage to horses by crouching and using it as one comes past. The line musket is the only firearm to have a bayonet. The bayonet and sword or sabre do 40 damage, which is 3 hits to kill a player on full health, which is 100 health, which is more damage than the knife, militia hammer and the sickles. Both of the ranker melee weapons have a walk speed of 16 and a blocking speed of 13, so it can outplace a player who is holding a sapper axe, lance, pike, sledgehammer, branch and war shovel. Both of the melee weapons can outrange the knife, sickle and militia hammers. The cons. Outranged by pikes, lances and scythes. Less damage than the sapper axe, hand axe, sledgehammer, branch and war shovel. Outpaced by knives, militia hammers and sickles. But why use the ranker? Well, depending on the map that you get, there can be a few reasons towards it. There are 3 types of combat that can happen. short range or close quarters combat in a place like a courtyard or a room in a building. There's also mid-range combat, normally using guns occasionally, but then forced into short range, and long range combat, normally with artillery and riflemen, and guns are used constantly. An example of a map that would normally use a lot of close quarters combat is La Saint, as it has a courtyard that forces you into a small space and rooms that do the same. An example of a map that uses long range and even mid range is Grasslands, because normally you don't get too close to each other because you spawn on the other side of the map, which is a very far way away. An example of a map that uses mid-range combat, long-range combat, and short-range combat is Hilltop Outposts. As to capture these outposts, you have to get to them, and the other team may want to capture it. So there will be short-range combat from that, long-range if you're trying to shoot somebody who's staying at their base, and mid-range if you're doing a mixture. Not only is there these different ranges of combat that can make you use the ranker, there is also different circumstances that there can be. If the opposing team keeps staying at their base, that it's a map that has mid-range combat and short-range combat, I want to be it so you can have the advantage of the bayonet for long reach, whilst also having a gun and a sword if you really wanted it. If you're camping in a house with your team, you might want a gunman or two, because then you can shoot people from the windows or any intruders that may come from the stairs or through a hallway. Another reason to be the ranker is due to the design. I like using the Irish Legion not only because I'm Irish, but also because I like the green and it works with the cosmetics I use. So when you are being a ranker, or any other role, just have a little look at the different designs you can have. And they can also affect your gameplay, because if you use something like the Old Guard, you'll be easier to spot because there's a large hat. But if you're something else, like the Polish Legion, you'll have a smaller hat that makes you harder to spot. You can also wear the same colours as your enemies, as it may temporarily confuse them and make them believe that you are on their team. And there you have it. This is episode 1 of hopefully many more videos of the Blood and Iron explanation playlist. Very sorry for how I sound in that video, because I sound really weird when I'm reading off a script. I don't know why, but more I do it, better I'll get. And, you know, these videos do take a lot of time to make. I had to redo this, so it took about 5-6 hours, which is ridiculous for a 10-minute video. But, yeah, it's just the effort, and due to the effort, support would be greatly appreciated. And credit to Fandom for literally most of the information that I have here and all the pictures. And to Croydon, I think it's Croydon Skit Gaming for the Croydon Zelda explanation playlist, and Skit Gaming's explaining Blood and Iron videos. So they were a big inspiration for this. So go show them some support. I'll link them in the description because, you know, they deserve it. And please go show some support to our main channels. But with all of that out of the way, thank you very much for watching again, and have a good day.